Let's head straight to the UK for more on that breaking news that Boris Johnson won't be contesting the ballot to become Prime Minister. Europe Bureau Chief Steve Kinane is across it all. What's gone on, Steve?
Well, Lisa, last time we spoke, we were talking about how there was that mismatch between what Boris Johnson was saying about having around 100 votes and how many people had come out declaring publicly that they were going to support his nomination. Boris Johnson, since we had that conversation, has announced that he is not contesting the ballot. He is not going to nominate. Now, he's claiming, apparently he's told the BBC's political editor that he had 102 people willing to support him. There is still scepticism about those numbers. But what he has just said in a statement was that that despite having the support of the MPs required to run, it would simply not be the right thing to do, as you can't govern effectively unless you have a united party in the parliament. Now, there was a real concern amongst the Tory ranks that Boris Johnson may get significantly less votes than Rishi Sunak, less nominations, and in effect votes from his own party room than Rishi Sunak, but then would go to the membership and the membership would elect him, and that he would have a situation where the parliamentary party did not support him. And in fact, that a number of them may even resign from the Tory party and sit as independents, and that could end up having confidence issues for the government in the House of Commons. So I think there's probably been a few people getting in his ear talking about this. And another thing hanging over his head, Lisa, is that he is being investigated by the House of Commons Privileges Committee about whether he misled the Parliament when it came to those parties that were in and around Downing Street, those lockdown parties. So this was a massive cloud over his head. And Steve Baker, who in many ways is politically affiliated with Boris Johnson, a Brexiteer, a minister who served under Boris Johnson, a real backer of Boris Johnson over the years, who is backing Rishi Sunak in this instance. He came out and said today that he thought it disqualified Boris Johnson from running for the leadership once again. The fact that the Privileges Committee was looking into this behaviour and could have potentially and could still potentially find him in contempt of the Parliament. So I think perhaps some of the words of those kind of Conservative MPs have cut through with Boris Johnson. So yes, it's a bit of a bombshell. But there was always something a little bit suspicious between that gap between how many votes his backers said they had and how many votes were being publicly declared and disclosed by Tory MPs.
All right, well, the clock ticks down. We've got Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt likely to be the two contenders, but at the end of the day, there could be a new Prime Minister tomorrow in London.
That's right. If Rishi Sunak is the only one who gets 100 nominations, 100 from his Tory MP peers, then he will be appointed Prime Minister tomorrow.
Steve Kinane, thanks for joining us.